One.
Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Morning Break on Breaking Times. I am Ikechidere Ikemba, and on my beautiful and intelligent uncles.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ikoko. My name is Barry to the World.
I'm Osi Serena. Good morning.
And a quick run on the stories we have for you today. PDP leaders have responded to Governor, the ex-River State Governor and the FCTA Minister, Nyesom Wike, who says that they have laid down conditions through the PDP leaders that the convention should hold in Ibadan. And we are having an issue whereby the PDP leaders have actually said that there are laid down conditions, that's clarity on zoning, and the leadership of the party must be actually be cleared before any convention will hold. And while this is going on, the Governors Forum has come out to say that inauguration is going to go ahead.
As
Now,
planned.
went to Elephant's battle. We have the party faithfuls to actually either benefit from it or actually have a standstill. Now, and this situation is going on. Where does this election in 2027 have a stand for PDP?
Okay, the party is actually really divided, and no matter what, some persons are going to be unhappy. Okay, so are we going to have more persons leaving the party or what before the election?
Yeah, well, Barry, I don't know what your take is going to be on that.
Basically, it shows basically the dissension in the party. It shows, two different factions. I feel like there should be a form of focus. Let's focus on the end goal. The end goal is 2027 elections. These are bickering. These are all these minor issues. They don't really matter. We need to, at this point in time, PDP shouldn't be focused on all these kind of things, but putting their heads together and making sure that 2027 election is a success, that they get it to power. Get into power, I know. And clearly, they've taken a backseat for so long. They have been in dissension for so long. They have been here and there, so much disunity. And if they could actually just unite for the purpose of getting into power, I think that will be a better story for PDP as a whole.
And one of the PDP leaders who actually is also loyal to the current president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, has come out to say that leave it or take it, that President Tinubu will win the 2027 election. And many have said probably he has seen more than enough to actually come out to say that the PDP has no opposition to the increment. I don't know how you say it.
Uh, I really don't know how a party man could come up and say those kind of things. I think a party faithful shouldn't be up in the news saying things like that, because it destabilizes. It shows that there's no faith in the ability for the party to produce a credible candidate first of all, and to actually win the elections. For someone who is saying that, it shows that you are really not a party faithful, and you're not a team player. Basically, for you to be openly supporting another candidate which is from another party, regardless. I know, right? And someone would say, some people from a particular school of thought would say, okay, what if this person is actually performing, the person is supporting regardless of the party because of the performance? But at the end of the day, you have to be a team player.
Yeah, being a team player, we will actually, it will scale into history here. We have just a president, an incumbent, who has lost his presidential ambition, talking about the president, Goodluck Jonathan. And I think probably FCT Minister Wike is looking into a crystal ball and saying that, oh, all the whole indicators favor the incumbent at this time, and there is no way that the opposition, because we are looking at 2 years to come, and there is no clear opposition to his presidency, and even going into 2027. And just recent, he has labeled that he has met with his target after meeting with the CPC leaders. And looking at it, does Wike have a moral ground to say that President Tinubu will win this election?
Wike does not have a moral ground to say that President Tinubu will win the election, if you ask me. That's all I can see on that story.
Why are you saying that because he has his own loyalists actually going to be working for the president, or are you saying that because he has all the formation already ready, INEC is going to speak for him, or the Nigerians are not ready to come out for voting?
Nigerians are not ready to come out for voting. I mean, we just had the River State local government election, and how many persons came out to vote? I mean, let's be for real. How many persons are actually coming out to vote for this election?
So you are actually saying that the voters apathy will
There will be
actually...
so much apathy.
Anyway, let's look at what INEC is saying. INEC is saying that 95 million registered voters, actually that's coming from the 2023 election, but the turnouts of voters were like 29%. This is actually lower than expected, because if you are looking at 95 million people are registered voters and only 29% of them came out to vote, are we looking at a trend that's coming from 2023 election? Is the voter apathy going to continue, or are we going to look at a new found love from Nigerians trying to own their country as a person?
I feel basically the things that are going on right now will determine how the turnout will be, because first of all, yes, like you said, the trend has been set by the elections that have happened in the past days. The trend has been set, and different positions that the government is taking towards the elections. Are they coming out to say, okay, there'll be free and fair and credible elections, and backing up with actions? Because we saw that the electronic system wasn't working. The beavers weren't working in the last elections. Have they come out to say, okay, these beavers have been fixed and they are in proper running conditions? Have they come out to test run these things and say, okay, this is the way we plan to promote free and fair elections in the 2020? These are the things that promote voter confidence, and say, okay, let's take to the polls and vote for whoever we feel is right for the country.
Well,
2027.
let's be real. I think the message from Minister Wike is that if PDP does not fix his house, 2027 is already over. Nigerians may be angry, but APC has the machinery. Going on to other FCT stories, the minister has come out to say that through the FCTA, that the 5 million fine will be levied on anyone who converts a building or a project from its initial slated purpose to another one. So, at the same time, in the same vein, he's also waging war against shanties. So let's take it bit by bit. First, conversion of residential buildings to lounges, hotels, or restaurants. I think the minister has done a great job in this policy, because in every other capital of every country, you have a laid down master plan. And if a minister comes in and repositions this master plan, I think we should give him kudos, because he has brought in normalcy and removing kidnappers from owning up these houses and telling us that they are hotels. Meanwhile, these are dens of kidnappers. I think security-wise, we should give it a thumbs up for
Yeah, it's a big up
Yeah.
Wike at this time, because he has done a lot more good to the people. Slating that 5 million naira fine might be small to some people, but when this is made public, that these houses are no longer what they are actually meant for the purposes. I don't know how you feel about it.
At this point is that I basically have one question. The question is, after they pay these fines, are they asked to demolish these structures that they have put in place? Because these structures are not cheap. Some running into millions and billions. Are they asked to demolish these structures, or do they stand as they already exist and they just pay these fines? These are the questions, really. I really want to know more about this policy.
Yeah, I think the policy is actually direct. If you repurpose a building, you pay this fine and repurpose it back to the initial
And convert it back.
because you're actually supposed to reach out to the FCTA before repurposing the said property. And I think what Wike is doing here is very, very simple. If a house is meant to be a hotel, let it be a hotel. It's meant to be a residential building, because Abuja is actually shaped into different purposes. There are places for businesses, there are places for recreational, places for residential. So if you go outside that and begin to use the houses for different purposes, I think we should begin to tell the minister to do more. I don't know how you feel about this, Serena. You coming from Port
I
Harcourt?
feel they shouldn't just find people, okay? They should also make it easier to find legal commercial plots, in the right places, and not just to find people, because finding them alone is not enough.
Yeah, well, I think before you take up any building or buy up any property, you should be able to do some findings. I think due diligence should be done by the buyer or who is about to take up that property. I think that should be the because now you have an office to go to find out this, and you should go visit the FCTA. They actually bring out more information to show you that these places are for business districts and not residential. I think that's where.
Yeah,
I think what she's trying to say is that trying to get properties in hot cakes, hot zones, really.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically you're trying to get a recreational center in one of these hot zones, but you don't have it's not available in these areas. So that's the problem, trying to put their businesses out there in the public, not just getting what is available. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I think that's basically where the investors are coming from, the landowners are coming
Yeah, I'm
from.
talking about investors. We're looking at about him demolishing the shanties, and many have adjudged it to be a very good development, because most of these shanties have been den of one chance and kidnappers and thereabout. And if shanties are being taken away, one should be asking, what are the replacements for these areas? But let me bring in more light into that. There are green areas in Abuja here which have been converted to shanties, and there are communities actually own lands which are meant for other purposes, but people are actually not ready to develop them. I think developing these places in line with what the FCTA has designed for it will actually make way for more development.
Well, we need something that would actually really work. Like we need a real solution. So they shouldn't just demolish the sanctuary. They should seize their goods so they don't come back, and they should also allocate somewhere else for them. That's what I think.
Oh, you're talking about low cost areas.
Exactly.
Yes, low cost
Exactly.
housing for these people in
Yeah.
shanties, because you tell them to get away from these areas. Where are you sending them to? Are you leaving them to go on to be nuisance to society, because you've taken them out of their homes, because these places being not legal or illegal, they have become their homes. So where are they going to? From where to where? What structure are you giving to these people? Okay, this is affordable accommodation for you. Stay here and everything. And I also like to commend the minister of Abuja. That was a commendable feat, because when the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. So he has let them know that this particular thing is used for this. This is a recreational center. This is a business district. This is for this, and they should remain for those purposes. And that's a good job.
Talking from where are they going to where are they coming from? Let's move to Castina, where residents we are hailing bandits, and this one is actually one that should worry Nigerians, because reports of the residents are now hailing bandits. Yeah, actually applauding them for providing justice where government has failed. And one will look at the echoes of Boko Haram earlier in Borno, Zamfara, Katsina, and now you see bandits coming into the city, and the citizens are actually hailing them, taking pictures with them, having selfie videos. And one will ask, where are the security operatives exactly at this time when this is going on?
Yeah, it's laughable, because this is free catches. I don't know when this particular event went on, and it was put in as bandits basically. So that means these people know these people. So why weren't they caught? Why were they left roaming the streets? Why are we seeing just videos? What has happened to these people? Why are we not hearing stories of arrests, rumors of arrests? Why are we just seeing rumors, and stories of people praising these people? And then again, it also leads to the narrative basically that Nigeria has fallen so far. Our security architecture has fallen so far down that the Nigerian populace are actually praising these bandits. And actually praising these bandits, same people who are causing the breakdown of society, causing insecurity, are the ones that are being praised. But why? Because there is so much poverty in the night, and these bandits are catering to their needs. I heard that they shared, rice and whatnot. So it's basically everybody will cheer. Now, who what they call it? Paid you by
heroes.
Yeah, looking at the story about citizens, when citizens start to normalize bandit rule, it actually shows you that the system has actually failed some people at this time, because looking at 4,000 people were kidnapped in 2023 by SBM intelligence. And the question is Nigeria controlling its sovereign state, or are they being controlled by bandits? Because looking at how insecurity has become an everyday normality to us, and we are beginning to normalize how these things are beginning to crop into our society, how comfortable do you feel moving from one state to another?
I feel when people are forced to choose between being killed and cooperating with criminals, they basically choose survival. I mean, these bandits have taken over communities. They are collecting taxes. they take taxes from people before they could even use their land. to cultivate crops and everything. So people are just basically trying to survive. Okay, the country has failed us, the system has failed us. We can't trust Nigeria to protect us. So they're basically cooperating with them because we are trying to survive.
Yes.
Well, this actually is a vote of no confidence on the security architecture of our country.
Exactly.
And when the state cannot protect or provide, people turn to whoever fills the vacuum. Going onto other stories which involving insecurity and our military architecture, talking about courts striking down the 15 years military service rule, service year for military personnel. And I'm looking at this is our final story on politics. The courts have struck down the controversial 15 years compulsory service for military officers, and many have said kudos to the courts because this is actually more of a kind of liberation for junior officers or those who may want to change their career. I don't know how you're seeing this.
Okay, in as much as we now have shortage of manpower, I think is actually a really good one because some persons that are there don't want to be there. Okay, some persons are there and they are tired of being there, and now they won't put in their all. They won't put in their all in defending the nation. So it's actually really good if you ask me.
Barry?
Well, everything also has its ripple effects at the end of the day. The ripple effect is we really do not have enough military force. We really do not have enough military force. But what does that mean that we have lesser because there is not much, it's not as rewarding as it should be because these are people putting their lives on the line for the country. They're putting their lives on the line out there for the Nigerian populace. So this should tell the government that they should do more for our military forces, basically to encourage them, and it will help Nigeria to be safer. We have security issues. We still have. We just talked about bandits in circulation and then being praised by. But then, what is the weapon that we're using to combat this particular bandits and everything? So we have to go back to we need to encourage them because if they are feeling discouraged as it is right now, that means Nigeria isn't doing what it should.
Well, let's go into details here. Nigeria spends about 2 trillion annually on defense from the budget office, and yet the moral issues plague the force. But one we want to ask for young officers, is this a moral boosting for them? Do they have a choice to make now, or do they need to actually answer to the ranks and files of the military structure that is already in place? Because we are looking at people who would have the choice to say, oh, at this time, I want to quit the military. Not they're leaving out what we just the news last week that ECOWAS is building about 260,000 counter-terrorism force, and looking at the under funding and under training and also under equipping their welfare and all that. One will look at what exactly does this pave way for our military structure.
I really feel bad at the end of the day. The people who will want to stay, the act of love, and passion for the job would stay. That's no doubt. But at the end of the day, it means a lot of money is coming to our military forces. A lot of money is coming to our military. Then it is not trickling down to the staff, to our soldiers, our foot soldiers. It remains at the at the heads of this, at the general level and everything.
We
And this, and we saw,
videos. Yeah,
yes, and we
videos of them
saw
complaining.
just recently that 245 billion, was used to invest in stock, privately. So we see these issues and everything, and we want this. We want to encourage them. And Nigeria needs to do better. Nigeria needs to do better in terms of our military force. And then we are the giants of Africa. It's about time we rise up to our name. It's about time we live up to that name and, be able to back it up, in terms of our military might.
Yeah, I agree with Barry. Rather than making it mandatory, they could encourage these soldiers instead. I mean, put a lot of incentives for them and, let them be able to rise up to higher positions and all that. So they could make this better for them.
Well, for me, I would actually ask that the federal government look into the funding and under-equipped nature of our military structure. And who knows it? You might have more military doctors who would actually leave the military and start to practice medicine as it is, and more engineers coming to support our local infrastructures. And with their training, we know how disciplined the military is. Probably we might be able to curb corruption in the civilian sector using the military personnel who actually had this training. And moving on from our political stories, we're moving on to finance at this time. We're looking at finance. What is the financial market like
Finance with
today?
Barry.
Finance. Welcome to finance. The first story we have today is Nigeria signs offshore oil contract with Total Energies. Now, in plain terms, Nigeria has signed a big deal with Total Energies and Sepetro to drill oil in the Niger Delta. And these companies invest in production and share profits with the government. So now, I just want to, ask a question. Basically, does this mean more foreign investments in Nigeria's oil sector? Basically, does this mean more
Well,
foreign
if you look
investments?
at the ASI falling to 0.4%, actually, one will ask, is it good news or bad news? But for me, I would say it is good news for the Nigerian market, looking at 70% moving to the oil revenue. But if the government is saying that they have reached their target, and even not looking at the oil revenue, just only from oil, and we might see that this is actually why this is accounting for more of the oil big wigs coming down to Nigeria. We have the Total Energy. We have the Petrobras coming from Brazil. So I think this is a very good time for the oil market. Looking at the thefts that the government said that they have actually tried to curb, and these are actually helped to boost our oil production. I think it's a good day for the oil sector.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, what would the money generated from this? What would the revenue be used for? How does it help a common man? Would it be used for the infrastructures, for schools, for hospitals? What would it be used for? So we need accountability,
Yeah, you're talking about
Yes.
accountability. I think in this realm where we know our climb is like Nigeria, actually it's a pyramid kind of gain and fall. It's very hard for you to see a price coming from the top coming down than it's for you to climbing up there, because it's easy for you to climb up, but it's coming down is actually a very big problem in Nigeria, because we might see a price come up to like 1,000. But when everything comes down to normalcy, coming back to 500 becomes a very big issue, though. It's actually a Nigeria thing.
we
And when
we are tired of hearing good news at the top. How does it affect a common man?
Well, basically, this is an offshore oil account. So
Account.
basically, it curbs any form of vandalization of oil plants, because this is
Yeah.
done offshore. It's on water. Anybody that actually wants to do that has to be very, very intentional and basically be mindful of the risk that it entails, because there's a
Exactly.
lot of sharks in that water. There's a lot of sharks in that water. I think this is commendable. It would actually, there's a lot of our oil that gets vandalized by,
Exactly.
and that's being siphoned, and that's
Absolutely.
unaccounted for
Accounted
in
for,
our
yeah.
economy. So
Absolutely.
this would bridge that gap. This would solve that problem readily, and means more money for Nigeria
Yeah.
and our
More jobs
economy.
for Nigerians.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
jobs, yeah.
more jobs for Nigerians. But yeah, moving on to our next story, we have the stock market opens in September in the red. Yes, it dips to minus 0.40%. So what really does that say?
Wow. Now, that's the market dip shows that investors that will be nervous at this time, because despite reforms and we're having this kind of dip at this time. It shows that they are that's why anytime I want to discuss about the situation of Nigerian economy, I just tell people that I refer back to Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who says that the economy is stable, which means that you might be unconscious but stable. But so you still need more medical attention. So I think this shows that we still need more medical attention or economical attention in this regard, because looking at how investors react to this, the first thing that you will notice is you will notice a drawback, and they will have to study the market flow before they begin to inject more of their inflow into the market, because nobody wants to have a loss. And coming and looking at how AGMs come up with harsh and tough discussions. So I think we need to do a lot more into actually stabilizing it to the point whereby it begins the injection, the pills, the massage begins to turn out results. Yeah, yeah.
Like in the
Yeah,
hospital
this
situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
though this could just be like normal ups and downs of investing, and some smart investors could use this opportunity to actually get more shares cheaper.
Okay. Basically, schools are resuming. Schools are resuming this September. Could that be as a result? Could this drop be as a result of people finding liquidity for their assets? Because these are real issues. People
Well,
want to pay fees. People want to pay bills. There's a lot of needs that need to be met, and people are withdrawing for genuine needs. To meet this. What do you have to say about that? Yeah, schools are resuming and secondary schools and whatnot.
Yeah, like I said, it's basically the usual ups and downs. That's how I see it, and it will definitely go up again.
It will
Yeah,
definitely
so
go up
smart
again.
investors could seize the opportunity, invest more, get shares cheaper, and
like you
voila.
say on the show, this is not a business advice.
It's not even that's advice.
This is not business advice, but yeah, do well and
I'm
act
just
accordingly. We're
speculating,
just
but
showing
yeah.
you opportunities
Exactly.
that you could take advantage of. And I say, this particular incident, it could it this dip in
The market.
the market could affect local businesses who depend on these stocks and shares
That's
to
FX.
raise money through stocks and shares. We also talk about banks, also losing due to this, losing sources of investment, because banks also invest in these shares, and then dipping means more losses on banks, and
Yeah.
they're supposed to meet a particular what do you have to say about
Yeah,
this?
absolutely. Looking at
You have a target to meet.
every organization has their target to make because every organization is in it for profit, and looking at what exactly it is in for each company. I guess that's where our question was coming from. How does it affect the common man? But for it, you have a market, and your market is the common man. So at the end of it all, what investors are looking at is the turnovers. So if the turnover is not relatively positive on what they actually set as their targets for each quarter, that's Q1 or Q2 or Q3. But we're looking at it as it stands. I think this cannot just be the fall of the market. We are going to look at each day's market gain and losses, and then we can project and know exactly what it is for the next market.
Okay. So on our next news on finance, we have the FG admits financial strain at the Nigerian missions abroad. In plain terms, Nigerian embassies, consulates abroad are broke, and staff aren't being paid, and some offices owe rent. The government promises to release money to fix this. Like, this is an international disgrace. I even heard, was that yesterday, even salaries haven't been paid. What's basically the cause of this?
Well, I think the Indus Towers
And
from all,
Nigeria, wait,
yeah.
before you land on that, Nigeria they've boasted of, one of the best economies thus far. So why the delay in rent? Why the delay in paying of salaries? Basically, what's going on? Why this embarrassment?
The foreign affairs minister actually said that yesterday, that actually their embassies are complaining about lack of funds, and I think this has shown that the president claims that he's not borrowing, but this shows that they're actually borrowing from some places to pay some places,
You're being paid to pay for.
yeah, because it's obvious that their federal civil servants are complaining at this time. I still spoke with some people yesterday in different parastatals, and they said clearly that they have not received salary up to date. And it shows that the country might be broke, but might be borrowing at the same time to service the various debts that are lingering in several places. But wait, I need to quickly also talk about, because this money they are being borrowed are for reform purposes, actually, so that you need to cushion the effect of this reform from this administration. But if salaries are being owed, I'm telling you that it's going to cause an uproar from the rights quarters, which is the common man in the marketplaces. The people that are supposed to reach salary and go to the market and purchase, schools are resuming. People are supposed to buy things for the resumption of schools, and then we are going to be seeing a lot of outcry going into this new week that we are going into, because we are going into the resumption week, and our resumption week is actually a kind of benchmark to actually show that probably parents are in good times with the federal government, or they're in bad times with the federal government.
What do you have to say, about the hits on our international image? This is quite an embarrassing story. What do you have to say about this?
What I have to say is, we need accountability.
Hmm.
I mean, who is in charge of the money? Okay, what happens
What happens to this to the monies that are being given, and what happened to budgeting? Is there any budget set out for these expenditures? And
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. Well, when you talk about money being owed, that's because the budget is when budget is different from making money available for to fund these budgets, because you have a budget, but the resources must be there also to fund the budget. So now this rent, if an embassy is owing rent, that means that the money has not been allocated to tend to that particular that expenses. So now they are actually like calling back on those who are responsible for this money to be paid. That come, we have actually laid this low for a long while. This rent has to be paid. I think the budget office will be talking to the minister of finance at this
But we
time.
had to get to this level, of
Well,
international embarrassment.
well, I think probably nothing comes out in the news unless it has actually gone through the whole table and there's no results. I think one single leak brings out the whole news that we need to hear.
I feel basically this would discourage foreign investors to invest in Nigeria because of signs of poor financial management. I really do not hope this continues and lingers.
But for me, it's a contract because foreign investors at this time will see only opportunities rather than seeing disadvantage. Because one, they know you're broke, they need to lend you money, and when they lend you money,
The money lenders.
they have to target at a particular rate, which you pay their rate and not your own rate. So the negotiation is going to be basically helping foreign investors at this time to actually edge on you because they know very well that you are broke. And then if you are broke and you come to me, I tell you you need 1,000, but when you are paying back, you pay 1,500. So now it's a source of income for me too. So you are looking at it from the other angle. Another man's problem is another man's juice on a very good day.
No, but I feel like the whole optics really in business, the optics matters. So if you're negotiating with someone who is broke, you can throw the person anything and he bites. Basically, the optics is all that matters. But then moving on to our last story for today on finance, we see the WHO calling for research-driven health financing. Now, this in plain terms means that WHO says that Nigeria should use proper research and data to decide how it funds its healthcare instead of guesswork. Because
Yeah,
we just throw money
I,
and see
I
where it
like it that
sticks, right?
you brought out this the right word that WHO used there. The World Health Organization says that Nigeria must stop budget by guesswork.
Guesswork.
And I think we have thrown this country the under the grass or under the what will I call under the pit. I would say most times because Nigeria actually have intelligent men and women, and we don't actually do budget by guesswork. But I think that the issue here is most of our budgeting is actually done by estimation, and most times estimating that these slippers will cost by 1,000 naira without not going to the market. That's where you're not going to the market to know the exact amount each slippers or drug will cost what you are purchasing from but now you are giving a budget inflation, and at the end of the day, which actually plummets into different facets of issues for the country. And I think we should begin to look at what they are saying as a constructive criticism, because we cannot go on and begin to set our own standard for world organizations. We begin to look like mediocres, and it sets a kind of tone that these people are not ready for business.
So Nigeria is 60 years old, and we're still having lack of adequate funding or budgets being made, and they realizing that they're under budgeted or over budgeted, or these budgets are not actually adequately appropriated for these particular things. Then we're asking the question, this particular initiative that has been provided by the WHO, how does it help reform the health sector in Nigeria?
I feel like it provides equal opportunities, for both the rich people and those who are financially struggling. Yeah, to be able to access, to access healthcare, yes, without breaking the bank, without running bankrupt and all that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like the financial reforms are basically what we need right now as a nation, and like you said, no more guesswork.
Yeah.
Once we are sure about what we're investing in, it will curb the corruption, because no more budget padding. We know that, okay, this thing costs 10 naira to produce. When someone comes out and say, it's 20 naira, there is a research that is showing 10 naira is what is required, and so no more budget padding, no more of all this
Yeah, from
excessive.
what WHO is saying, that Nigeria currently spends 3.6% of GDP on health, and far below the 15% Aso Rock has declared as its target. So I think what they are saying here is basically that you are telling us that you are spending 1 billion on your health, but it shows that you are quoting about 20 billion, then that's what you are spending. But what you're actually spending is 1 billion. So you are telling them that what you're doing is just guesswork, and you're not coming with factual statement about the true state of your health sector. And it goes on to say a lot of things that about Nigeria that are unclear about Nigeria, because one, if you state that you have 700 tubers of yam in a house, and actually what you have in your farm are 400 ridges, everyone would believe that you've told them that you have 700 in your barn. So now, but you actually cultivated 400 ridges. So now, when your 400 yams finishes, the 300 that actually you don't have, you will have to suffer for it. And who suffers for this? Actually, the common man. So I think what World Bank is saying, that they should come with factual-based budgeting, so that at the end of the day, we have it complementing what is actually meant to be spent for, and not we just coming out with figures, because
Yes,
Nigerians are used to
exorbitant
coming out with figures. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it helps, the case of transparency, for more foreign investors to want to invest in Nigeria with this level of transparency. Okay, we do our research, and this is the findings that we have that needs to take care of this particular work that needs to be done on the health sector, and it will also improve, the overall health sector. So moving on to entertainment, what do we have on entertainment today?
Hello. So on the entertainment news for today, Pella issues public apology amidst controversies. Pella finally broke his silence. He had been silent for a long time since the alleged kidnap.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story of it. He was on live, and then he was attacked by kidnappers and all that.
Attacked by kidnappers. I'm a little bit shocked by attacked by kidnappers, because I think
That can happen.
most times I think these people go beyond their PR stunts to actually create a scenario whereby a scenario of panic, because someone like Pella, actually, I think he has this dwindling followership at the moment. I think he's just trying to raise, but he has come out to throw an apology to the people, and I think for me, we should begin to cancel out these apologies, because of recent we've had a lot of people coming out with apologies. They will commit an offense or do a wrong thing, and they come up with every strategy to make people like them more. And for a person like Pella, I don't think that he has the rating for the public. I think he's looking for more showmanship there, just to bring in more of viewership to his platform.
Perhaps not,
Yeah.
because he didn't really commit any offense. I mean, he was just basically silent for a while, and then he came out all repentant. If I've hurt you, I'm sorry. This is not who I am in real life, what I portray, and all of that stuff. And I just feel like everybody gets to that point when, if you have a near-death experience, if you've had one before, you get to that point
I've
where
not had one before.
Have you had one before?
Yeah, I think I've had something close to that, and
And then you
I've
become
not had the type of Pella's near-death experience
no,
before.
no.
and
But
then you become so
It's almost seems like
repentant.
acting to
You
me. That's why I said I've not had
yeah,
that, because I know what.
really hard
Yeah,
to
yeah.
believe.
I know what.
Barry, do you
Near-death.
agree that Pella is acting?
I really do not know what has happened, so I cannot speak for him at this
Okay.
point in time. But what I can speak for is coming, getting to that particular point in your life, getting accosted by someone or by kidnappers.
Yeah.
It gives a fresh perspective to life. You begin to see that it's not all these material things. Life is what more, and relationships actually matter. And that's
Exactly.
why he started making apologies. If I've offended you in any way, please forgive me and everything. But I don't know if it's a PR stunt. Certain
Yeah.
people
Because they
have
were
made
so uncalled for.
gadgets
I
as
just feel
well
that looking at the
for
Mohbad
fame.
story, where he was with Zlatan, and the infamous Sam Larry came on set and they had to actually intervene. I think I see where you're coming from that, but I just want to say that if you cry wolf and they find out at the end of the day that there was no wolf, but it was just a teddy bear, and that means that you are showing that next time you cry wolf, there might be nobody out there to come save you when the real wolf comes in. So that's where I'm trying to make people, because he might have just watched that Mubad's video and find that that's the PR stunt he could actually throw also. I think the NPF has come out with another statement also and said that he was kidnapped. Let's just believe that he was allegedly kidnapped. But for me,
It was live. It was on live.
yeah, a lot of things
Yeah, a
happen
lot of
during
things
life.
can be
Yeah.
acted
Yeah,
out.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of things can be acted out.
So
But our sympathies and whoever the apologies are to, I hope you forgive
Yeah, you
him.
should have mercy on him.
yeah, please, Nigerians, let's have mercy on Pella.
All right.
Oh, we have an unfortunate trending story. Pregnant woman and child dies at Ikot Epene. I don't know if I got it right. General Hospital. That's in Akwa Ibom State.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes. So
that's so sad. What's the story like?
the story was that she was rushed there and she had complications already. Now, according to the sister, the hospital couldn't find the key to the theater. So they kept her
Health sector
waiting
again.
for 3 hours. So for 3 hours, this woman was bleeding before they finally found the key. And then there was no doctor on seat at first. So
Wow.
it's really tragic. I wonder what is being done to them, to the hospital for this. I wonder who is going to be held accountable for all of this.
This shows basically gross negligence in
Yeah.
the hospital.
Absolutely.
In the hospital, because
Absolutely.
first from the theater not being open, then to the doctor. I feel like they're not taking our health sector seriously. Who are the people that comes and inspect and see that things are actually running smoothly? And I think it's a general hospital, like you said.
Yes.
It's-
And they had to remove the baby through a C-section.
C-section.
Yeah, and then the child was already dead. And she was like, okay, I'm happy that at least my sister is still alive. But then she kept on losing blood and losing until she died.
Well, looking at
You
the
know,
story actually
okay.
speaks volume about our health, the public health sector in its entirety. And looking at this same issue that actually occurred in 2013 in the same hospital, that's the Kotopene General Hospital. And it bothers one's mind that what actually happens in our health sector, because from 2013 to date, that's a very long space of time for them to actually do something about this same hospital. And these are the same hospitals are where we find people using torchlight phones to actually have surgeries, conduct surgeries.
That's
And
so sad.
it's actually a sad note that
It's quite
more
appalling.
maternal fatality are happening in our society at this time, at this century. We cannot keep having it. And I'm surprised that I'm reading that the Akwa Ibom's state government has instituted a 14-man panel to,
Okay.
what were they waiting for? Up to this moment, up to this time and date and year, for them to start instituting a 14-man panel to look into and investigate what are you investigating exactly? You have a CMD of that hospital. I don't know exactly what they are actually waiting for. Or is it for somebody to die? Because the last one that happened in 2013, it was until the political influence stepped in and the person was allowed to be treated. I think the Senator Bukola Saraki led Senate actually instituted a bill and enacted a bill that says that treat before you start asking for police reports. I think at that point in time, they have actually should have moved and scaled up their operations to a level whereby we don't need to start running about. How can you wait for about 3 to 4 hours before you get a key to the theater?
To the theater.
That speaks a lot. That place has been
No
locked.
sense of
That place
I
has
feel
been
like
locked and they
they
were
should
not
have
expecting.
improvised at that point.
Exactly. They were
I'm
not,
sure.
even improvisation is not even the problem here. What has been happening since last week, the new week, that place has been locked for so long. I don't know exactly who. I think even the governor himself should have stated a state of emergency on his public health in his state, because that shows that you are not even paying attention to the people's health. This is a state that has a 5-star hotel. Well, I'll call it a
Yes.
hotel because
Hospital.
no, I call it a hotel because it was created by the senator. It was built by Senator Pabio, the Senate president.
Yeah.
And if you can build such a hotel for special elites to be taken care of health-wise, I think we should start building hospitals and not hotels to cater for elites alone, because that hospital is actually catering catering for the elites and not for the common man. And RIP to the late woman and the unborn, because the family has been thrown into a trauma that they cannot actually come back from. I don't know how people will feel at this time of the year, getting almost to the end of the year, and you're losing your wife and your child at this time.
I mean, just last week we saw a video of a pregnant woman who lost her twins that she was carrying because of she had to go get the money for the operation for the operation or something. Yes, and then she even had complications because she had to go get referral later and this and that. And then she was while she was there after getting the referral later, she got into labor, and then this lady with her labor went to get baby things. I don't. The person that was the lady that saw her and was helping her took her to get baby things. Like in that condition, was that the right thing to do at that moment instead of taking her to the hospital?
I'll just claim ignorance at that point, but I really want to speak on, the lack of development in our health sector, because if we have a computerized system, there wouldn't be an issue, pulling up her medical file, from the internet.
And getting the
all
reports.
They just need to do is go to the hospital, they'll just call that hospital and ask them to send her medical files over.
Exactly.
And then that would have been solved as easily as possible. But then Nigeria has become big in age and not in maturity. We are 60 years old. Someone who is 60 years old should be able to chest certain responsibility, but we're 60 years old, we're acting like 5-year-olds.
Well, I think heads should roll in this situation, because the management of that hospital should be held responsible, because when lives are just being cut short, it shows that we lack our etiquette and of maintaining organization one, and the value for life in this country is zero, because I don't think
You see it as one of the numbers.
you just see it as a number. 10 people have died here, 20 people have died in that other place, and
7 persons were killed.
So we are beginning to normalize deaths in the country, and it's actually due to negligence, because if after 3 to 4 hours a theater could not be opened, I think the CMD down to the list of the management team should actually be sacked, because we don't expect those kind of people to be able to manage even a clinic, because if we are talking about a general hospital here, we're not talking about a pharmacy store, we're talking about a general hospital that serves a whole ecosystem. And this is something that should be a disgrace to the state government, and the Senate President himself, Senator Pabio himself, should look into this and see exactly who is culpable and who is to be actually taken to court or to jail.
No wonder people are actually traveling for medical
tourism,
and tourism, because they can't trust the Nigerian
trust the country.
health sector.
They can't trust the system.
The medical sector in Nigeria. It's something that we need to look into. Like I said in finance, something that we need to look into. The government needs to look into and scrutinize the way it is being run.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm moving on to our next story. Woman caught stealing phone and food during church service. Someone said she was hungry.
Wow. I don't know
We
what
pray,
to do.
give us our daily bread. She stole her daily bread.
Yeah. I think this calls for also cause for reflection, because if somebody is going to the church where it's meant for reform of the mind and of your character and disposition, and you go in there for theft, I think we begin to think
what?
Yeah, that I think the church should be a place where they should come in and receive salvation. I think now they're not receiving salvation. They are coming to steal the salvation, the funds and the food. And
because people
everything.
go through different motives.
Yeah, because your salvation might be that phone. Another person's salvation might be stealing the food, because that shows that there's a breakdown.
This is don't cash. See, I can't go back, no.
This person is coming to steal food. I can't they take care of myself. I'm not our reward system is actually, that woman might actually have a job and she has not received. She might even be a federal civil servant who has not received a salary. And you are looking at her that she just came to steal. She's not came to steal, she came for survival. So it's now survival versus culture.
But how shameful though, because this is actually a mature woman. It's something really, really shameful.
Well, you're looking at it as shameful, but she, at her intent, was looking about a hunger crisis. Because many people have said there's hunger crisis in Nigeria, but we have said no to it. But now you can see that live and direct from the church.
No, well, but then does that justify
But then
armed
again,
robbery? Really? Does that justify armed robbery? Because certain people go and steal for survival, they go to the extent of possessing arms. Certain people bomb and they say, okay, I'll settle your family and everything. Does that also promote terrorism as well?
Just
Because
yesterday,
this is
yeah.
moral
I'm with
degradation.
you, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Certain people are going through worse than she is going through. Certain people are on
Barry,
the
do
street.
you realize
But
that?
does that
Do you
mean you
realize
should?
do you realize in Finland, their reform system involves you going into the into the reform system, that's the prisons, and when you get in there, you notice that actual reform is going in. But when you go into the Nigerian prison, that's correctional system, what you go in there is for you to either become a more hardened criminal than you have actually gone in there to actually get reformed. What is I'm not justifying crime here, but I'm telling you that if there is a functional system, we wouldn't have crime rates will reduce.
Definitely.
People, if we pay people are right
But
on
what
time,
is
they won't have
wrong is
excuses.
wrong.
Yeah, what is right is right, what is wrong. But let's start from what is right. The government has to do its bit. The people also have to do their bit and fall into the moral bracket where they can say, oh, I've been paid, I have a job. I'm not looking at unemployment as an excuse. I'm not looking at my salary being half paid. You know, I have states who are paying half
Yeah.
But let's
salary.
not forget that they're
Yeah.
actually kleptomaniacs. They're people that just pick up things.
But this is
And
not a
no
kleptomania. The
matter how
woman
much
said
they
she
have, they
was
just
hungry.
keep up things.
The woman said she was hungry.
I mean, they can give excuses for anything,
And
right?
like I heard
But
that
what
anyone
excuses
There can be
who
excuses
what
for
excuses
anything.
are we
can
giving for the
lie
government?
as well.
What excuses are we giving for the government for failing?
No, no.
But we always take the citizens that they are the ones that are the wrong side of the law, but the governments don't have their responsibility to play.
Everybody is wrong here.
No, it's not everybody is wrong. We actually need to start sticking up for a working system. Because what we have is a faith system. But we all actually are just keeping quiet, romancing it and thinking that one day, one miracle will happen and it will work well for us. That's why I said culture versus what is right.
Okay, what is wrong, but we see.
Well, what is wrong by all standards. But yes, the government actually does need to do better
Yeah, the government
in
needs to do
terms of
better.
providing for the society. If they have done their bits, now it should be on her. You know, the whole responsibility and all eyes will be on her. Basically, if you have done your
The story
bits.
I'm looking at here.
Now moving from doing better, as a government, to doing better as a parent, Reno Omokiri's ex-wife accuses him of abandoning his son. He came back, you're a father.
She said, you are a father.
Yeah.
You are a to-be mother. And you will actually understand what this means when you come to understand what responsibility falls in play for a parent. Because you, number one, ignoring your child says a lot about your person, about your upbringing, and about you knowing exactly what you're supposed to be doing for your children. Because I see a sign of neglect here. But Reno Mockery has been gallivanting, going to Kaduna, coming online, making mockery of Peter Obi, making mockery of the ADC, his former boss Atiku, and thereabouts. But now here he is. He's on the spotlight now. He has ignored his family while running about chasing shadows, because your immediate family is your primary responsibility as a father, because you must not neglect them, because once you neglect them, they will seek for opinion outside, and whatever they bring back home, you don't start to blame them for it. Because I'm looking at Reno right now, and I'm looking at him as someone who's not reflecting on his responsibility as a father, because what he's reflecting on is what actually what they call skit makers do. That's what he's just trying to get at. I think I would not even be surprised if Brendo makes a skit out of his family from this story and thereabouts, calling out his wife. But his wife has called him out. I think it would,
His ex-wife.
his ex-wife,
Yeah.
his ex-wife is also calling him out. So that shows you that the law actually needs to speak its course at this time.
Yes, and this was the post made on Monday, saying that the child requires extra care and has been waiting for his daddy to come. What do you have to say about that?
I think,
Because you're a to-be mother. So put yourself in
to-be
the shoes
mother.
of this ex-wife.
It's really sad that someone with the amount of resources that he has at his disposal, it's not that he's poor and he genuinely cannot meet the needs of his child.
Yeah, we're looking
It's
at
not
that.
it's not that he's poor, it's just
think
negligence.
yeah.
Really, it's gross negligence, and it's not something that should be encouraged. A father is supposed to take care of the needs of his children, and basically there's a saying in the Bible: a father that cannot take care of his family is worse than an infidel. So basically, he is worse than an infidel by all social media right now, and it's really sad. What do you have to say about that?
Well, like I was pointing out earlier, if a father ignores his child, there's one thing that there's only one thing that you will have to know there: the person was never ready as a father, or he's an irresponsible person who was chosen just to become a donor.
Sperm donor.
Yeah, just become a donor
More than.
because he as a person does not actually understand real need that child actually should be given at that time, because as a caregiver you must pay adequate attention to that child.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the developmental stages of a child is very, very important
Yeah,
for
the
every
formative
yeah,
years.
the formative, because if you don't pay attention to that child, the first thing is a dysfunctional adult you are creating already, and a dysfunctional adult creates a very chaotic society. And from a chaotic society, we're moving on to sports at this time, and we're having Muhammad.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Ikemba.
Good morning, Muhammad.
Today I bring exciting news from the world of sports, from transfer sagas in the Premier League to the Italian League to even the French League and the German Bundesliga.
Wow.
Moving on with the headlines. Forest. When I say Forest, I don't mean Zamfara Forest. I mean Nottingham Forest completes the signing of 17-year-old Chinaza Nwosu from the Hammers, West Ham. And this is personal to me. The reason I said this is personal to me is because I'm impressed with the kind of talents we're exporting,
Yeah.
the kind of addition we're giving to the global sports. What do you think about this boy, Mr.
Well,
Nwosu, about
like
this
you said,
signing?
it's personal to you. It's also personal to me in the sense that I've actually been advocating for grassroots development, and we see young lads like this being exported from Nigeria to West Ham, from West Ham to Nottingham Forest, and not Boko Haram Forest, though. So I think this is actually a good one for the Nigerian community. We are looking at more of our lads playing in professional leagues, and it's actually encouraging because him coming in as an addition for the club, we actually spell that he will be a kind of spot. He'll be a spotlight though, because a young chap and he's actually trailing. I've seen most of his clips and how he moves. Actually, he does more than Messi, I would say, because that's why I say it's personal. He's home. He's a home call, and I love that.
Barry, on to you. Do you think, what advice do you intend to give the government, the federal government, in order to foster this kind of
Yes.
development in sports, in the world of sports? What advice would you like to give the government?
First, basically, is to improve the infrastructure because we already have the talent.
Absolutely.
We have, if it's talent, we have talent in Nigeria in excess. We have excess of it. But also, then we're talking about the quality of talent that we're putting out there. What kind of training infrastructures are we putting in place, to refining this talent, and not them just, getting there and getting refined. Because Nottingham Forest is a place where he will shine brighter than he ever did, before. And it speaks to our Nigerian government. Do better in our sports sector, and then put more money there, and you see the results.
I think what Barry is trying to add, in addition to what Barry says, she's advising the federal government to build better stadiums in order for these boys to get better opportunity. They should have a facility that matches up with their talents, not stadiums that they can, with no mud stadiums. So
Yeah,
thank you, Barry, for your
you're right
addition.
about that. Talking about facility, like what the ex-governor of Imo State did in Imo State while he was there in 7 years 7 month span, he built a stadium in all the whole 27 local governments, and these facilities were actually dependent on what sports is actually domiciled in each local government. I think we should begin to look at see more of this, because if you have a kind of swimming community, you shouldn't go and be looking for a football pitch for them. You should train them more on how to become like Phillips, Phelps and Co, who actually won like 7 gold medals from the Olympics and all that. These are things that we should look at, tailor in our sports according to what actually is
Our skills.
skills as what is obtainable in each society. I think that would be better off.
Thank you, Mr. Ikemba, for your addition. Moving forward, Ademola Lookman, his transfer bid has been broken down by it was not up to match, and it has gone down. He was supposed to have a move to Turkish super team Galatasaray, but I think the transfer the transfer saga has broken down. What do you think about this issue, Mr. Ikemba?
Well, I just want to say it is a bad news for
Sad one.
a very, very sad one for the Nigerian talent, Lukman, because he has actually looked forward to playing in Galatasaray. I was even worried how and when the conversation broke down, because I think the relationship between him and his club was the first issue, because when he started having issues with him actually leaving willingly, and the club said, no, you must live on our own terms. And this comes to talk about the clauses that are contained in every contract for each player. And I think they should look into looking at more favorable contract deals than just signing up for all these clubs, because most of them actually have the clauses that tie them to these clubs for a longer period of time and does not allow them to have the opportunity to move at will, because that's the clause, the at will, that is very, very important.
Yeah. Well, I am Barry. We have seen crisis between clubs and players. We have seen the example of Victor Gyökeres that plays for Arsenal and Sporting. We have seen the issue of Newcastle and Alexander Isak. Do you think this affects the players? The relationship between the club and the player, do you think it affects them when it comes to transfer, that they want to move? Do you think there are reasons that makes them want to move? They are not treated right by the club, or do you think it's just a willingly move? They just feel like they want to change environment?
I think basically most moves are for their career, mostly career moves. Basically, better clubs includes, helps them career wise. Basically, if it's, for instance, you move from, let's say, Zamfara club to Nottingham Forest, basically you know that this does better for you. This move means a spot at the international stage where better people can actually see, people who would pay, for scouts, basically. Yes, that's the word. Scouts will see you and see you performing in your optimal capacity, and that's apart from that, apart from the money that comes with it, the fame, and then the exporting of the talent, like showcasing of their talent as well on the global stage. So I think if they are not being able to also transfer, there's this hit on their morale, basically, at the end of the day.
I think for me, what is can be a bad luck for Lukman can actually be a good thing for Nigeria, because looking at the AFCON, this can actually benefit, this stability at Atlanta might be a benefit for Nigeria going forward for him, because he will have to play more for Nigeria at this stage, because moving to Galatasaray, he has to actually stabilize himself at Galatasaray. He does not have to start moving for either for club and for nation at that point in time. I think this stability at Atlanta will give him more chance to work out more time to play for Nigeria at the AFCON.
We wish Ademola Lookman a successful new season, and I hope they get to quench their issues between him and his present club. Our last headline for the day: Champions League winning goalkeeper Donnarumma moves to Man City.
That's good news.
That's a good news for him, but I have unfinished problem with him, because they were the ones that chased us out of the Champions League last season.
Well, so, PSG actually enjoyed the stay of Donnarumma while he was at their club. I think he's a very fantastic stopper, and seeing his addition to Man City, I think Man City should not cause more problem for Chelsea at this time, because looking at the fallout between Arsenal and Liverpool during the encounter, I think more football clubs need good goalkeepers, because if the goalkeeper fails to block the shots, I think it opens for more nets to be celebrated by the players.
But I have a question that has been bothering me about this transfer, Mr. Ikemba. He was at a very good club that performed well. They even went to the extent of winning the Champions League. So do you think he made the transfer in order to get a better competition, or he wants to get a new adventure, or is it a personal reason transfer?
Like what Barry was just saying, you moving from Kano Pillars and you are getting a contract with Chelsea, it's actually like a buffer for you, because it improves your rating, one, and you playing for PSG, and which is actually a French
world-class team at the moment.
Exactly, and coming to Premier League, the most watched tournament in the whole of the globe. And I think he wants to be more seen, because I think playing at PSG might be, he has tested that league, and he's trying to show that he can also actually succeed in that league. I think let's wish him luck for the young man. I won't call him young man, but young lad. At this time, yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't want to. Barry, she's a Chelsea fan, so
I'm
she
also
will
a
not
Chelsea
do.
fan.
She will,
Yeah,
she will not do
I'm also
justice to the
I'm
conversation.
also a Chelsea fan.
Thank
And,
you.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
Mr. Ikemba.
Yeah, I think this is much we can take for today on Morning Break. I remain Ikokuchido Ikemba.
I remain Barry to the world.
And I'm Mohammed Kabir. Thank you for being with us.